Welcome to True Tales from the Other Side. If you have a true encounter with the unexplained that you want to share, contact us through the email address below. Enjoy.
I've always loved road trips. The freedom, the solitude, the endless possibilities that lie just beyond the horizon. This one was supposed to be no different. I was driving cross-country, taking my time and enjoying the scenery, planning to camp under the stars when I felt like it, and crash in motels when I didn't. It was late October, and the air had just begun to turn crisp. I'd been driving through the southwestern United States, winding through arid deserts and endless stretches of highway. The road was quiet, no cars for miles. By the time the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and purple, I found myself on a lonely stretch of road cutting through a vast expanse of Native American land. The isolation was comforting at first. I rolled down my window, letting the cool night air rush in, and cranked up the volume on my playlist. But as the last rays of sunlight disappeared, leaving the desert bathed in inky darkness, that comfort turned into something else. The engine light came on first. "Great," I muttered, slapping the dashboard as if that would make it go away. Minutes later, the car sputtered and coughed before rolling to a dead stop on the shoulder. I turned the key in the ignition, but it wouldn't catch. I was stranded, miles from anywhere, with no cell service and nothing but a flashlight, a half-full water bottle, and a blanket in the trunk. I decided to wait it out until morning. Maybe a passing car would stop, or I could flag down a tow truck once daylight broke. For now, all I could do was hunker down. The first sign of trouble came about an hour later. I'd been reclining in my seat, trying to catch some sleep, when I heard it, a faint rustling noise just outside the car. I sat up, peering into the darkness, but saw nothing. Probably just the wind, I told myself, though my heart was already racing. The noise came again, louder this time. It wasn't wind, it was deliberate, like footsteps crunching over gravel. I grabbed my flashlight and rolled the window down just enough to shine the beam outside. The desert stretched on in all directions, empty and silent. I exhaled, laughing nervously at my paranoia, and rolled the window back up. That's when I heard the knock. It was soft at first, like someone tapping a fingernail against the driver's side window. My blood turned cold. Slowly, I turned my head, half expecting to see nothing. Instead, there was a face. It was human, or it would have been if not for the eyes. They were too big, too reflective, like an animal's caught in headlights. Its skin was pale and stretched tight over its bones, and its mouth was twisted into a grin that showed far too many teeth. I screamed, scrambling back against the passenger door. The thing outside pressed its face closer, tilting its head like it was curious. Then it knocked again. I don't know how long I stayed frozen, staring at it. Seconds, minutes. Eventually, I managed to grab my flashlight and shine it directly at the face. It flinched, hissing like an animal, before backing away into the shadows. I didn't sleep that night. For hours, I sat in the car, gripping the flashlight like a lifeline, watching the darkness outside. Every now and then, I'd hear it, scratching at the windows, footsteps circling the car, a faint guttural growl that sounded like it was right next to my ear. At one point, I thought I heard it whispering my name. I tried turning the engine over again, praying it would start, but the car was dead. I couldn't even use the horn to scare it off. Then, just before dawn, it started pounding on the roof. The sound was deafening, like fists slamming against the metal, shaking the entire car. I screamed, covering my ears, but it didn't stop. I could hear it laughing, this horrible raspy sound that made my skin crawl. When the pounding finally stopped, I peeked out the windshield. The thing was standing in front of the car now, illuminated by the faint pre-dawn light. It wasn't human. Its limbs were too long, its joints bent at unnatural angles. Its grin stretched wider than should have been possible, and it crouched like a predator about to pounce. Then, as the first rays of sunlight broke over the horizon, it let out an ear-splitting shriek, and bolted into the desert, disappearing from sight. I sat there, trembling, until a truck pulled up alongside me a couple of hours later. A man, clearly native, stepped out and approached my car cautiously. "Need some help?" he asked, his voice calm but wary. I practically fell out of the car, babbling about the thing that had terrorized me all night. His expression darkened as I described it. "You're lucky you're alive," he said finally. "You shouldn't have been out here after dark." "What was it?" I asked, my voice shaking. He hesitated, then said, "What you saw, it's dangerous. It's old. It doesn't belong in this world anymore, but it's still here, and it's always hungry." I shivered, remembering the grin, the laugh. "Don't talk about it," he added. "Don't even think about it too much, and whatever you do, don't come back here at night." He helped me get my car started, and I drove away as fast as I could. It's been months since that night, but I still see its face when I close my eyes. The scratches it left on the car have faded, but the memory hasn't. I stay off lonely roads now, and I'll never drive through native land after dark again.
Thanks for listening. Remember to like and subscribe so you don't miss the next set of tales from the other side. Submit your story to the email below. And remember, nothing is what it seems.